American and Cuban business leaders meet today in Havana as part of the push to build economic ties during the president's historic visit. Travel and tourism are major areas of opportunity. Margaret Brennan spoke with the co-founder of Airbnb, one of the first U.S. companies to do business in Cuba. It's an interview you'll see first on CBS This Morning. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning. Well, you would think that spotty internet access and a cash-reliant economy would make it impossible for an online company to do business in Cuba. But that is quickly changing as the Obama administration lifts restrictions to make it easier for American companies to do business here.
A room with an oceanfront view anywhere in the Caribbean would cost top dollar. But for as little as $45 a night, renters can reserve a suite like this using the online booking tool Airbnb.
We can offer more complete experiences for people, like
company co-founder Brian Chesky.
It's been our fastest growing market in the world with 4,000 homes, 2,700 here in Havana, Cuba.
Since the U.S. loosened travel restrictions, more than 3.5 million visitors have flooded into Cuba, a country with only 63,000 hotel rooms.
Who's booking Airbnb in Cuba?
We think about 10 to 20% of all Americans who come to Cuba right now are actually staying in an Airbnb.
Manuel Leon and his family live in Los Angeles. They decided to rent a home in Playa Miramar to experience Cuba like locals.
In a hotel, I'm not going to have that opportunity. I'm going to take a tour, but I'm not going to get in contact with real people, the people that are the Cubans.
Cuba remains one of the few countries in the world left virtually untapped by American corporations due to the long-running trade embargo. But that is changing. Starwood Hotels will soon be the first U.S. hotel chain to operate in Cuba in nearly 60 years. Cuba scholar Peter Kornblue says American businesses are lobbying the Obama administration to allow them into the Cuban market.
Let us go to Cuba. Let us make our money. Get government out of the way of U.S.-Cuban relations because Cuba is no threat to the United States and their economy is opening.
But visitors like Manuel Leon fear that an influx of big businesses will endanger Cuba's unique charm.
Everything is going to change within a few years. So we want to take the last grasp of how it was before the big change.
Still, the authoritarian Castro government has not made it easy for American companies to set up shop, especially for companies which operate primarily online. Access to the internet remains state-controlled, making Cuba one of the top 5 most restrictive countries in the world. And 1 hour of internet use can cost as much as 10% of the average monthly salary.
So Cuba's a country where there's spotty internet service at best.
Yeah.
Credit cards don't work.
Right.
How is Airbnb doing business here?
We didn't even know ourselves how we do business, but with very little internet, there are a few people on the island that have internet access. And so the way it works is we have 4,000 homes, and there are people that are co-host with our host. They're intermediaries. They accept payments. They do all the messaging online, and they work with the people's homes.
Cubans have a long tradition of renting out their homes to visitors. So to sign up new hosts, the company simply introduced them to a 21st century platform.
It was viewed as a new idea. And here, it was something that was already familiar to the culture. There were tens of thousands of people that were already sharing their homes. So we felt like it wasn't that big of a risk. All we had to do was make sure the community embraced Airbnb.
Cuban homeowner Pedro Suarez and his girlfriend Gretel say bringing renters into their home provides more than a steady income. It's broadened their worldview.
We thought it was a very good chance to be in touch with people of another countries and so that wanted to have the experience to live in Cuba with a Cuban family.
Now, this is just one of the small business ventures that the Obama administration is trying to encourage in order to put money in the pocket of the average Cuban rather than the Castro government. And Nora, later today, President Obama will host an entrepreneurship summit at a beer factory here in Havana.
Really interesting, Margaret Brennan in Havana. Thanks. It's incredible to see what's going on there.
And how quickly it's all happening.
And now we know when Chris takes the show there, we can have a place to stay.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
I hope you're paying attention, Chris. Like we can get a great deal at Airbnb. I like it.